Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Marc, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate. Everybody, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. It's Tuesday night, it's 7:30, it's time for another episode of
Through the Garden Gate.
Ah, that's better. You right?
Not too bad.
Oh, couldn't find my tripod.
You're holding it,
No, but
you're leaning it.
let me show you something.
What do you want to show us, Jamie?
Oh,
It's now a bipod.
it's broken a foot,
Yeah.
The bipod.
broken leg.
So I'm resting up against a gas bottle.
My God.
So imagine it's going to be some
We have a lot to talk
ballages.
about on this episode, don't we, Dad?
What have you got to talk about?
So, first thing, we've got our our first red strawberry of the year over there.
Oh, lovely.
Not quite ready, but on the way.
Yeah, it's on the way. And then some of my chaos beds are germinating.
Oh, that's good.
The seeds.
That ain't been very long, is it?
Yeah.
It was last week.
Yeah.
And then one damn thing is, you know what? When I came down here to start watering the plants, there was a dead rabbit.
Oh,
There's
no.
been 3 this week.
It's not a bash, is it?
No. That just wouldn't kill a rabbit. Like the other week, he was just sitting over there, just staring at a rabbit.
I wouldn't know what to do if you came nose to nose with a rabbit.
He's like, okay, I'll back off now.
Play with me.
Dad, you start burning the thing.
I wonder why they're dying then.
I'm guessing some of these got poison down or something, because there's nothing wrong with them.
Oh, no mixie.
No, I mean the fact that there's been 3 in my garden in the space of a week, that doesn't sound like normal circumstances, does it?
No.
And
They normally gas them, I think, down the tunnels so they don't come out.
Yeah, I don't know whether they've got hold of some rat poison or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Or bunnies.
Not nice to see. Not nice to find when you come down to water your plants.
No, definitely not.
No, Jamie, POV.
We've got loads in our horse field, George. If you want some more, come and catch some from ours.
No thanks.
I'll eat our vegetables.
Pain in the bum, to be honest.
Dig holes everywhere.
Digging holes and eating all the grass.
Squirrel that dug up my football area.
Hi, Jenny.
Ah!
Right, you're going to read your gardening facts.
Okay.
I'll hold it. Yeah, all of that.
Okay. All of it?
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. UK gardeners use around 1,000 litres of water per hour while using a hose pipe in the garden. A typical veg garden requires 30 to 50 litres of water per square metre of wheat during a dry summer.
Wow.
That is a lot of water.
1,000 litres in an hour.
So if you're using a hose pipe solidly, it will use 1,000 litres of water in an hour.
And just to put that into context, that's an IBC full.
Yeah. Or 5 normal-sized water butts.
Yeah,
because they're 230 or something.
That is the same as the thing that we have out there.
Yeah.
210, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot, isn't it?
Yep.
So there's 24 hours in a day. So if we use
Go on, do the math.
1,000 an hour,
yeah,
it'll be 24,000 a day.
Yep, well done. Can you imagine how much water that'd look like on the floor?
Wow. That's a
Plus a veg
That's
garden.
a swimming pool. That's a swimming pool, isn't
It
it?
is.
That's a half decent sized
It's
swimming pool. We used to
about
have
five
my old house.
pounds
We had a
for
swimming pool,
mine.
and that was 20,000 litres, and that
Yeah,
was
a few
4
hot tubs.
foot high by 20 foot long.
Yeah. Just puts into perspective how much water you can use,
Oh
doesn't it?
yeah,
Without
definitely.
even thinking about it.
And if that's
Right, you
coming out of the tap, that's a lot of money.
see you later.
Bye.
Thanks for your gardening
See you,
facts.
George. Oh, see, here it goes already. See you, George.
Anyway,
Oh,
see you next week in Wales, in Fairborn.
oh,
And we're away.
Wales. When are you going?
On
Saturday.
Saturday.
Damn.
Why?
Bugger. I was going to come down on Saturday. Bring some plants for you. That's just scuppered my plans.
We're here in the morning, but not much later.
Oh, dear. What's it like not being a Chelsea virgin then?
No. Fancy that. Very good.
How did you get on?
Yeah, really good. Very eye-opening.
Mm.
Yeah. Not what I was expecting, really.
No?
Very small in regards to other flower shows, but it's almost like a normal garden show condensed down into a really small area.
Yeah.
So the main avenue show gardens are top notch.
Unbelievable.
You probably get like 2 or 3 of those quality gardens at a normal garden show.
Yeah.
Whereas every single one of those is like you can't find fault with. They're just absolute perfection.
Yeah.
And there's some lovely, lovely gardens, lovely messages, lovely display stands in the floral marquee.
Mm.
One of my favourites was Middleton's.
Was it?
Theirs was lovely. And
I wonder if they've done anything different than before, have they?
they're not using their pink pots anymore. They've got
They
them
said
all.
that. They
Yeah.
said that when we were there. They weren't going to use them because the judges didn't like them.
No, so they've got them. It's almost just like a massive, like, bank of salvias, just all jammed in there together. So it looks like you
I think
walk over it.
that's similar to what they normally have, isn't it?
I don't think that. I don't know. I've never seen them have a display stand like that. Usually,
Oh, haven't you?
I see them just have like the shop. I've never seen them do a proper.
I thought they did at Hampton Court, didn't they? It was all raised up, and it teared up, went backwards.
Yeah, I didn't think I saw it at Hampton. I don't remember it anyway.
Oh, I did.
I saw the shop outside, but not in the floral marquee.
Yeah. Oh.
But even the floral marquee, I thought when you see it on TV, it looks ginormous. But when you're there, it's about the same size as a normal show. But again,
yeah, that's
like the quality's another level up.
Of course it is. Yeah, it's the best in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, best of the best.
Definitely.
But yeah,
It's just amazing when I've seen a bit on TV. I'm going on Thursday, like I said to you. But when you see him, you think Teresa was watching. She went, "It just looks like it's been there forever."
I know. It's crazy. How much work must go in to transform that site for like 2 weeks or whatever it is,
Yeah.
a week for the public? It's incredible. I mean, I'd love to see like a time lapse of it from above to see how much they change.
Oh, it's just grass everywhere, isn't it? I think.
Grass and some roads and stuff.
That's it.
And there, literally everything that you see is brought in. Like none of it's there.
Nothing.
So it's incredible what they managed to do.
Size of some of the trees and oh my god.
I mean, luckily they've got big trees on the site anyway, so they sort of help with the like grounding it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible show.
Yeah. It's fantastic. I love it. Absolutely love it.
It's like the Oscars of the garden world, isn't it? Basically, where everybody's showcasing what they can do, what is the best practices. It's almost like a catwalk in some respects, isn't it? So it's not not really something that you would take and put in your garden, but it's there to inspire and to show what is possible with the technology. I mean, the mycelium printed structures that were there were amazing.
Mycelium.
Yeah, so it's built using mycelium,
Oh god.
and then they can. I think it's 3D printed, and then when it comes to the end of its use, they can just break it back down.
3D printed concrete stuff.
No, it's not concrete.
Where the machine goes round and just
No,
pumps
that
it.
was on one of the other gardens.
Oh right.
But there's a mycelium. I think they're like towers, and they're made from mycelium, and then they dry it out, and it's like concrete. And then once it comes to the end of its life, they can break it down, and it just rots back down again.
Yeah.
Like no waste whatsoever.
No.
And then one of the other gardens had a toilet in it, which turned your waste into biochar, and the other waste into water.
Yeah, I've seen toilets that do that. They burn. It gets really high temperature, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got like on the back. It's got this. It's almost like a boiler attached to the back of it that dries it out, I guess, and then condenses it down.
I've seen one in the camper vans. I'm sure. That kind of thing they have in camper vans because there's nothing left. There's just a bit of brown dust at the bottom.
Yeah, they're like rabbit droppings.
Yeah. So, did you have a favourite garden?
Joe Thompson's, I think the glasshouse garden was my favourite for planting.
Right.
And then close second was Nigel Dunnett's, the one with the sand, the mounds.
I haven't seen it yet.
That was really interesting, that one. Just something completely different, like not a safe option.
Yeah.
Trying to push the boundaries sort of thing. And we got to go on that. We were chatting to Nigel, so it was really, really cool garden. And the thing that baffled me the most is the structure I thought was Corten steel. And when I talked to him, he was like, no, it's not, it's wood. And it's wood coated with like iron or something that they paint on, and then it rusts, so it looks like metal.
Oh, right.
And it preserves the wood.
I'll keep an eye out for that then.
That was really cool.
Did you see Peter Beale's stand, Joe said?
I did see Peter Beale's stand. It was gorgeous. Lots of roses everywhere. The roses in the floral marquee were rather lovely.
Did you see David Austin's new King Charles one?
Yeah, the King Rose. That's proving to be quite Marmite among people.
Yeah, it's a bit stripy for me.
Yeah. It's nice that it's an open rose though, rather than a real fluffy one.
Yeah.
Usually they're the fluffy ones, aren't they?
Yeah. It's just, I think there's too much definition between the two colours for me. It starts and stops too much.
Yeah.
If it was blended a bit more, it might.
Somebody said it reminds them of a beach. It's quite candy stripe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not everybody's cup of tea.
Stick of rock.
And there was a lovely clematis stand in the floral marquee as well.
Some lovely things. I can't wait. Thursday, we'll get in there.
There'll be one thing missing though from the clematis stand when you go that was extra when I was there.
What was that?
It had a wonderful person on it. And if I tell you where the clematis are from, you'll guess who it is.
Oh, Chris.
From Guernsey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The groovy garden. Chris was there.
Yeah.
So
it's nice to see him, isn't it?
Really good.
Yeah, fantastic.
And he was on his clematis stand when we bumped into him.
So he was doing some work then?
No, I don't think he was just on there. And we were walking past and he came and got us on. And then whilst we were on there, Carol Klein came over.
Lovely.
So Chris and Kim got to chat to Carol Klein.
Very nice. Very
and I stood
lucky.
In the background.
Did you? Taking snaps.
Going, I don't like you.
You're not your favourite?
I've changed my mind about Carol Klein. She's a lovely lady. She's tiny.
Yeah,
She
I've
doesn't
seen
come
her.
across so small on the TV, but she's really little.
Yeah. Strange how people look in real life, isn't it? Did you see lots of celebs?
Not a massive amount. We saw some, but yeah, I mean, some people saw all sorts of celebs, and I missed quite a few, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Lots of people go to do that, I think, don't they? Which
To be
is,
honest, I don't know quite a lot of the celebs that people probably know. So I was looking at people I saw were people like Moira Stewart and Johnny Ball and
yeah.
all of these older people.
That's where it gets quite frustrating for the whole situation this year of the passes, where you
Yeah,
get people who just take snaps of celebs and that's it. That's all you see they do. You think, oh, but they are. Never mind. Calm down. It's gone
yeah,
now.
that's right. I was too busy looking at the plants and I missed all the famous people.
Exactly. But never mind. I'm going Thursday.
Didn't
Bought a
see
ticket.
David Beckham. He waited till I left.
He was
He didn't want to
with
clash with me because he's stealing my hat.
he um he was with Annabelle from Middleton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they look like they've had a great week so far.
Oh, good. Good. Right. Enough Chelsea talk. You make me jealous.
You'll be there. Not like you're going.
Yeah.
Right, tonight we have a hobby gardener who has transformed their modest back garden into a wildlife haven, a veg garden, and a tranquil escape from the world. They have also got a newfound passion for growing daffodils.
Mm.
It is Mena at Mena in the Garden.
I'm glad you said it the same way I did.
Why? How else would you say it?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was Mena or I don't know. We'll ask her. We'll ask in a few seconds.
Yeah, not Mena.
Hey guys, one
Hello.
introduction. Thank you both.
Is it Mena?
It is Mena. Yeah, my
I'll say
actual,
we're all right.
yeah, you're fine. My actual full names are Mena, but it's just easier to call myself Mena on the internet without people going, "How do you pronounce that?" and all that good stuff. So Mena's good.
Oh, I see. Oh, brilliant. No, that's all right. I think I apologised, didn't I, on my story earlier, just in case I got it wrong.
No, honestly, it's fine. You know, even when you put your captions on your reels or whatever, it's Mena and it always goes to an I. I just
Yeah.
can't get upset about it, otherwise I'll just be permanently angry all the time.
Totally. How are you? All right?
Yes, really good. It was good to hear Mark talk about Chelsea because I don't know about your stories, reels, and everything else that's happening on Instagram. Mine's just Chelsea talk, Chelsea talk, Chelsea
Yeah.
talk, whether it's
Yeah.
the celebrities, the roses, or anything else that's going in, and then the BBC as well. So I'm missing EastEnders to speak to you guys. So obviously, you know, you're
Very
higher
good.
than EastEnders tonight for me.
I'm sure you've pressed record.
Course, I need to keep up with my drama. I don't get enough through Chelsea, so unless there's anything we want to gossip about and drama likes, we can turn this into an episode of EastEnders.
I'm
But
sure we could. We could find some, definitely.
yeah.
So what about Chelsea then? Have you been?
No, I've not been. I haven't actually, up until last year was the first year I ever went to a gardening show at all. And because I'm in Birmingham, the nearest one to me is the Malvern show. And I like the Malvern show because it's in a massive space. You've got the Malvern Hills as a backdrop, which is just, if you've ever been, is just completely
No.
stunning. And the space, I don't like being able to reach out my right hand or my left and be able to touch about two people. I want a bit of space between us. So yeah, and you get a chance to like talk to the exhibitioners a bit more than necessarily what I'd imagine at Chelsea. Not to say I wouldn't ever go,
Yeah.
but I've not been to Chelsea yet. So, but I enjoy everyone's experiences because I guess people go for different reasons to see the flowers, like you say, celeb spotting, which I'm sure happens a lot,
Yeah.
and then just for inspiration. And then I'm sure you get all the content creators influencers going to support their brand deals and everything. So I like it on all sorts of levels.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I've been, well, Thursday will be my fourth time,
Oh,
so
amazing.
yeah, just make a day of it. You've
Yeah.
got to, I think, especially if the ticket prices are a lot of bloody money.
Yeah.
So
And
you
getting to London.
Yeah.
and getting to London, yeah, and there's going to be food and goodness knows what else for the rest of the day. So got to make it, get there early and just stay till they actually kick you out.
Have you been kicked out then? Is that something you
No,
want to
no.
share with us?
No, but it is expensive, but I like it. It's only once a year, so
No, I completely understand. I think if I was to do, I'd do exactly what you're advising. I'd go down and make a day of it, stay over, have good food. Because
yeah,
I like our capital anyway. It's like if I go for like a city break, I go to
yeah.
London because I just like London. And there's some good little gardens around there if you just like walk the streets of London without that sounding dodgy. It's really nice.
Yeah, I like it. I don't like it more than a couple of days though,
Yeah,
and then I
I
want
can
to come
understand that.
back to my little village and
Oh,
Haven.
nice. Peace and quiet, I can
back
imagine.
in the country again. So if you're in Birmingham,
Hmm.
the NEC's close. So you must be Gardeners World Live. You must have been there.
Yes. Because it's got like the Good Food Festival. I don't know
Yes,
if
it
it's like
has.
a hybrid thing, but my best friend took me to it last year as part of a birthday gift, and we went on the Sunday, so the last day of the show.
Yeah.
And I remember putting my name down for one of the flowers that was on one of the stands because it was just beautiful. There's this like perennial foxglove called Polly. It was just stunning, and it was like fluffy furry. You know, when you touch something it feels like teddy bear fur. It was
Oh
that kind
wow.
of thing. And I've grown so many of them this year. The idea is my back garden will just have that foxglove eventually. But I put it down at something like we got there like 10 or as soon as stores opened.
Mm.
And of course, you can't collect it until end of day. And I was dead on my feet. And I was just like, why did I do this? I was just like, and I don't think my best mate was that impressed by the end of the day. Sort of like small regret of waiting till 5 o'clock. And yeah, but I'm going to go again this year. But I do go to the Malvern Summer Show. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be there Friday, Saturday, or Sunday yet.
Yeah.
Me and Kev, my other half, we'd like to go to the Malvern Summer Show, see all the animals, the tractors, like Mark, the Lincolnshire show.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's something along that. And I love all those kind of things,
Yeah.
seeing like the kids with the pigs and thinking that looks like an absolute unit of a cattle. And there's this little kid like
Yeah.
moving it around. I'm just like, scares me. But so yeah, we'll be going there. But it's another good one. Be supporting. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I'm going to be supporting Jan, who's doing one of the beautiful borders this
Yeah.
year. So I want to go
Yeah, of
down
course you
and
can say
support
it.
her.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
well, I'll go and see Jan and everybody else. There's several people doing gardens this year, isn't there? Again,
Again.
Yeah.
that seems to be getting a bit of a thing now, isn't it? Instagrammers doing
Garden.
gardeners all live.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing. It's a great way of taking your garden and your inspiration and giving it to the wider world. Because I've never opened my garden for like the National Gardening Scheme, and I don't have that type of garden to do so. There's a few in Birmingham that do, but I think it's a great different idea to get your ideas out into the world. And I saw so many beautiful ones last year. I just thought the amount of effort that
Mm.
must go into these. And
Oh
then you
yeah,
go back to Chelsea and you've got teams and gazillions of pounds going into it. You're just like, it's immense. And
exactly.
hats off to anyone that does it.
Yeah, yeah. Both Mark and I, we helped out on gardens last year, and it's just right from the beginning. It's well, for the people who are doing the gardens,
Yeah.
so much work going into it, isn't it, Mark? Just constant.
And just the fact that you start with a load of sleepers in a square, and that's all you
Oh,
get, and you've got to
Yeah,
somehow transform that into these beautiful
yeah,
borders. And in the space of a week, you go from nothing to what the public sees.
wow. I didn't realise it was that bare bones when you
Yeah, it's
arrived.
oh
literally.
yeah, definitely.
God. Okay, if I ever was thinking about it, that's completely thrown me off a bit now. But
Oh no, it's good. It's good. I reckon me and Mark ought to do one year through the Garden Gate one.
Through the garden gate. You have to have a garden gate at the front of it.
We'll have to have a gate on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, definitely.
Think people sort of like hear it first. Now it's going to go on your
Oh.
stories, Mark, and people are going to say, "You promised this back in 2025. Where is it?"
Yeah, we'll get it done in 2030 or something.
Yeah, long lead time for inspiration.
Yeah, definitely that. So tell us a bit about yourself then.
So maybe if I start with how I got into gardening, because it wasn't through a traditional method. I actually got into gardening through food. So back in 2007, 2008, I was probably what you deemed a foodie. Same with my other half, Kev. We were big into food. It was just that kind of scene back in the day. And we were massive Jamie Oliver
Yeah.
fans. And during that time, he released, I don't know if you remember, a series called Jamie at Home with a book.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we saw that on TV, saw his gorgeous veg garden in the back of his house in Essex, and thought, we want some of that. And that's how we got into it. So it started off as vegetables, except I lived in Lincoln city centre in a 2 up, 2 down, where the garden was literally concrete. That was it. It was just concrete. So we shipped in a load of pots, whatever we could get our hands on, just filled them with, I'm just going to say soil, because I didn't know what on earth compost was or whatever. It was
Yeah.
just dirt in a pot.
That's what we all do to start with.
Yeah. And then we just grew veg. I grew cauliflowers, broccoli, you know, the things they say you can't really grow in pots, and we didn't have like the miniature versions back then. Grew them, but it was a lot of watering, like kind of what we're having to do now. But yeah, that's what got me started, got me absolutely hooked. For work, I ended up moving to Nottingham, then to Birmingham, back to Nottingham, back to Lincoln, finally settled in Birmingham eventually. I love the city. We got our house, I'm going to say about 10 years ago, and it's out in the suburbs, and I live in a cul-de-sac, and I have a very standard garden. So when we bought the house, it was a turnkey property. The guy just done it up to turn it, so it was literally just a patio and a bit of grass. Did nothing to the garden, lockdown hit, and I thought, right, I'll do something. And as much as I had inspiration, I'm not very well. I'm good at DIY in the house. I'm not great at laying slabs, any of that stuff.
Right.
And my garden's sort of on a slant. So, because I'm an impatient person, which obviously works well in gardening, I got a contracting firm in that, you know, when you look back at something, you think this is too good to be true for money. Anyway, I got the layout I wanted, and because I'd put my name down for an allotment for so long, and still to this day I'm nowhere close to the top of the list.
Yeah.
The layout I went for was this: it was an allotment in my backyard, because the first year I started gardening, it was just all veg with just a bit of flowers put in. When I had the contracting team come in, they gave me what I wanted, but the slabs were laid really poorly. It was just awful. And so regretted that decision, started resaving again, and got a better contract firm in. And they actually did a show garden at Malvern, and brilliant guys, gave me exactly what I wanted. And over the past 5 years, it's just been developing into mixing today flowers and vegetables together. So, for example, I've got a rhubarb that's now surrounded by alliums. I've got lots of miniature Savoy cabbages growing in between broccoli, growing in between vivascums and things like that with alliums. Because I've only got a small space and I want it all, I have to kind of make it work, if that makes sense. So yeah. And then, like, I won't go into too much of this because I want to keep it lighthearted. So about 2 years ago, got diagnosed with stage 3 cancer.
Okay.
I didn't put anything on my Instagram account on this one because this was my escapism. I just wanted something that wasn't cancer related. I actually had my appointment this morning, got the all clear again for 3 months, is still in remission.
Oh, fantastic.
So yes, that was good news this morning. So 18 months clear.
Brilliant.
And when I finally came out of that, I know a lot of people talk about the mental health aspect of gardening, which is great. And there's loads of people like yourself and Mark that talk about it a lot, really good advocates of it. the one thing I found the garden really helping me was my physical health. I'm quite a slight person anyway, and I lost 10 kilos by the time all the treatment had finished. So I could see quite a lot of muscle wastage. So when I could, and my nurse and doctors were like, get out into the garden, I'd just do half an hour of work just to kind of get myself on. But one of the things that I promised myself when I came out the other side of the cancer was that, one, I'd buy Bring Me Sunshine David Austin Rose, which is now in my garden, and I absolutely love it, even though I think it thinks it's a climber now. And it's ridiculous. It's as tall as me. And I would put myself out there and do a flower show. So this is a long-winded way of saying that I was looking for a flower show, and then all of a sudden I found myself down this rabbit hole of daffodils and haven't come up since, and I've been permanently bitten by what they classify as yellow fever. If I could turn my entire back garden now into just a field of daffodils, I would do, but I won't give up my veg. So, little potted history of me monologuing to you for the next however long I've been chatting there. So I'm going to take a break and have a cup of tea. Need water.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Daffodils. Why then? Why daffodils? What made you get into daffodils?
I honestly was literally a rabbit hole. So the nearest local show, because I think they're dying out now, really, like local flower shows and things like that, is in, I was about to say Leamington Spa, but it's not that. It's a spa town, and I can't remember where it is, but it's like half an hour down the road from Birmingham. And it was my nearest show, and it's in March. And the only thing that really flowers in March, realistically, are daffodils. And I thought, well, I've got a few that are just in the garden. Let me just cut those and I'll take them. So I thought, right, I'll do that. And then I ended up on the Daffodil Society website because it's a not-for-profit charity, and there's just such a wealth of information, and the people that run it are really knowledgeable. They've been growing and showing daffodils for absolute decades, let's say.
Yeah.
So I joined them because I don't want to sound like I'm promoting it. I just kind of want to say like it's £15 a year, which is great value for the amount of support you get out of it. So I spoke to the group secretary. She gave me so much information about how to look best at them. And one thing you do get, and I do have it here, you get like a exhibitioner's guide of how to actually show daffodils. So I went along. Everyone's ridiculously friendly. And I'm in my 40s and I'm classified as young person. So that was really lovely going there and being told, oh, look at you young'uns coming up through daffodils here. And I was like, taking this. And I brought a tiny little daffodil called Snow Baby to it. And it won a first prize. And I thought, oh, wow, I'm like really excited about it. And then that was it. But I wanted to take it to the next level because at the time I didn't realise the national show was held in Birmingham in the Botanical Gardens. But I really needed some more support to take it to like a national level, because when you get to a national level, they expect a certain level of. I couldn't just go into my garden and just randomly pick up a daffodil. Right, that doesn't look dead. I'll just take it in for show. So joined their Facebook groups or their socials, started speaking to them. And what I discovered is there's two types of daffodils. There's ones that are bred for show competition daffodils, and then there's one for like garden cut flowers, and there's like quite a difference. And truthfully, I found it a bit overwhelming because I probably don't need to tell you two how many daffodil varieties there are out there, and there's like a classification of like 12 different types of daffodils you can put into show.
Tell us all the numbers.
Yeah, it's like there's 12 sections, and then those are broken down as well to like, right, so you can have like a division 1, which is the trumpet daffodil. So the archetypal, when people think daffodil they think trumpet. So you can get yellow, orange, red, pink, and then you've got the bicolors, reverse tricolors, then you've got orange with pink, pink and orange. So
red and pink, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're trying to
that's
breed at the
really nice.
time. Yeah. So
Wow.
there's always, probably like roses, there's so much breeding going on, because one thing when I've been sharing my experience with daffodils, when I provide links to people that DM me to say, right, I get my bulbs from these specialist suppliers, and all the suppliers are so lovely. They're like local companies run by families mainly.
Mm.
One of them's an airline pilot during his day, and because breeding daffodils is a passion of his, he breeds them for competition daffodils and other things.
Oh, wow.
And people will look at them and like think, am I really going to pay £15 for a bulb or £35 for a bulb? And it's expensive, but it doesn't necessarily mean expense doesn't necessarily mean a win. But you do have to have a look at the daffodils that do well on the show bench.
Mm.
So but when people like talk to me about that, there was a bulb for £35, but if you think about it, it takes 4 to 5 years to get a daffodil to flower,
Mm.
and then you've got to make sure it's stabilized, and then hopefully after that point, then you've got to grow it and create the bulbets to actually produce the stock. And that's even before you're talking about like paying like the people on the fields and everything like that. So when you add it all up, I think £35 for a bulb is a
Mm.
bargain personally.
Mm.
And that's how I have to look at it. But yeah, the first year I was overwhelmed with what on earth am I going to put in. So this one particular supplier does something called a beginner's exhibition box. And I've just seen Norfolk say scamps are absolutely amazing. They're a really great supplier, and I've had quite a few of their bulbs, and they're another great, I can't say husband and wife, father and son, absolutely amazing. And this box is basically, you pay £40 and you get, I think it was 10 or 12 bulbs, and you just basically grow them.
Mm.
And this year when I took it to nationals, I went in the novice section, and one of my blooms came away with best in show for the novice section, so that was
Oh,
really
wow.
lovely. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I caught the bug completely. I'm jumping around a little here, but I remember on like, so when you stage your daffodils, you're given quite a lot of time. You can go the night before and stage up until 9 o'clock at night. And I was just, I don't need that time. I'll be fine. So I went the following morning. I went at 8 a.m. 2.5 hours, and I was still running around going like, oh my God, I've got 9 minutes left and I need to put all these out. How, honestly, I was chatting a bit, but not enough to think like I should not be running around like this when I've been given like 2.5 hours. So next year I will be going the night before to stage, because all the professional stagers, unlike me, were there the night before sorting out most of them. One guy had even driven up from Cornwall. That's
Wow.
the level of commitment. So lovely.
So it's not just a nice long thin vase with some water in it and one bloom dropped in it.
It is, but when you stage, so you're given all the vases. So first off, and this I didn't realise, you're supposed to fill the vase with water. I know that might seem really obvious, but I wasn't. I just literally put it in dry and just stuck my moss down there. And Shirley, the secretary, was just like, "What are you doing? You need to like put water in. It's a living thing." So there's that. As you can see, complete novice. Not to mention that if it's heavy, it doesn't fall over either.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the first year I was so nervous, and bearing in mind this is a hobby and something that I should find fun, I was that nervous. I was doing this, put it on the table, misjudged where it was, and it tumbled over the back and broke. So
No.
yeah, and I might as well just get all this out. And I was that
Yeah.
nervous at the show this year. I thought I was putting 3 of my daffodils in a certain section. Turned out I put them in the wrong section, so they got disqualified.
Ah,
So I was just like, and the judges were just like, next year, chill, calm down, speak to us, kind of thing. But yeah, so you stage it in pots that are provided, but it needs to be perfectly straight. It needs to be pleasing to the eye. So if it's kind of like off center, it doesn't look good. It needs to be perfectly centered. And when you look at a daffodil, it needs to be looking at you straight like that, with the top petal at 12 o'clock, 3
Wow.
o'clock, 6, etc. So you clock it and move it. So that's the stuff that takes the time, basically. But the biggest challenge I had as a novice, kind of what the people at Chelsea and probably what you guys had to do with your shows, is making the flowers flower for that day.
Mm.
And if they're too far forward, my other half was like, every time you open the fridge, it was just full of daffodils, sweet yogurt, daffodils. And he goes like, how long is this happening for? But what I didn't realise until I read the handbook was that, and I think this might go for all flowers actually, I'd be interested in your thoughts actually. When the daffodil creates the pollen, as soon as that pollen goes over, that's when the flower officially starts dying. So as soon as you hit that sweet spot of the nectar and pollen being created,
Mm.
it's never going to get any better than that. That flower at that point is perfect.
Yeah.
As soon as the nectar pollen goes over, the flower starts its end of life cycle and starts deteriorating. Is
Sounds
that correct, do we think?
Yeah.
feasible to me.
Yeah, it's done its
Yeah.
job. It's time to.
Yeah, that's got to. Yeah, that's the only reason it's there for, isn't it? So it can pollinate another flower, and the bees come along and
It'll be
Yeah,
going to
and
seed.
yeah,
So once it's been, if somebody's taken the pollen, it's been pollinated with something else. So it's going to move to the next stage of the process, which is creating the seed.
yeah.
It's
yeah,
still
That,
attached to the bulb.
well, you've helped me with that, guys. So that's basically what one of the very long time show growers told me. He goes, that's what you've got to work to. As soon as you see that perfect pollen creation, if it's like a week before the show, I could cut it then, stick it into a tall drink of water, because daffodils lose moisture through their stem, not through their petals. That's why you keep it in water right up until its neck and then stick it in the fridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's how I don't know if you probably saw at Chelsea, Mark. I think it's at bulbs.com or Taylor's Bulbs.
Yeah.
They brought all their daffodils down in what equivalent of like a freezer in a van, basically.
I was saying to Kim, who I walked around with, like, how the heck they have managed to have that amount of daffodils in that good a condition in May
Yeah.
is incredible, because they must have not only those ones, they must have backups to put in their place
yeah.
for the week, because they're not going to last for the whole week.
No, I think the serious growers like Essex Farm and Taylor's, I think they'll pick so many, because you could, I imagine, and I think it happened at the national show, you bring them down and some of them were bringing in, the floristry boxes, the massive boxes you can get for, I don't know why this has just popped into my head. On like, is it Terminator or Terminator 1 where he has the gun in that flower box with the
Oh
roses?
yeah.
That's what I don't know why that popped into my head. That's that's what they bring them in. Yeah, great reference for this. Terminator and flowers. Actually, one of the bulbs I've got this year is called Terminator. So I will share that. But they bring all their flowers in that and they just wrap them in cotton wool. So that's how they make sure that they arrive quite safely, or you're bringing them in buckets as well. But yeah, Taylor's is amazing, Esker's Farm's amazing, Flying Colours are amazing. I'm sure there's Scamps are brilliant, and there's a few overseas ones as well. So there's a lot of daffodils out there that Farmer Gracie and all those guys are fantastic, but they give you the daffodils that have been in production for over like 100 years, probably exaggerating slightly, but the longer it's been around, the easier it is to produce. And some daffodils like Tate, like just like that for reproduction, so they're easy enough to get. But other ones, like the one that won is called Camaraderie, that I won my best bloom for, and I think that I'm going to say goes for about £6 to £10 depending on who you buy it for. But when it opens, it's perfect. It's absolutely stunning. And I there's so many daffodils out there. If you were to say to me, what's your favourite? And I normally go to my stock answer of winter waltz, because it's always the first one that flowers for me in February. So when everyone else on Instagram's got like bare gardens, people are like, how have you even got daffodils out yet? But I have a different daffodil I love depending on what's opened on the day.
Mm.
I couldn't say, that's the one. I mean, I fell in love with one when I went to Malvern. It's called My Dearest, and the massive yellow trumpet daffodil, like I think it's called King Albert or something like that. Yeah, it's basically that in pink and white, and
wow.
and it's a big boy. And so I said, I'm not buying anymore, not buying anymore. And then I saw that, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to buy that. And then I realised who was on the stand, and was like, so you're buying it? And I was just like, yes, fine over the money. God, but yeah.
Brilliant.
So yeah,
Just,
I got.
just going back to talking about the pollen and the nectar. So they judge that so close. They look in the flower at the state of the pollen and the nectar to see where
They
it is in
can
it.
do. Yeah, so the idea of the pollen and nectar is that is the absolute, the flower should be at its perfect stage. So if I saw the pollen and the nectar was like perfect today, that flower is at its peak of its condition, or should
All
be,
right.
basically.
So that's just
Yeah.
a guide for you, really. That's not what the
Yeah.
judges would judge on.
They can judge on it, but only if it's absolutely close. So the judging has a particular criteria, which I don't want to share just because it's part of what the Daffodil Society have in their handbook. But they have certain criteria. It's like staging, color, poise, and poise is basically making sure it's like straight, looking good. There's no nicks, because you guys probably know as well, like if you force a flower into flower, it can nick the petals, like when it's unfurling, it can nick, and you end up with like nicks all across the petals. And I can't have that on a show daffodil, for example. But if you've got two daffodils next to each other, let's say same variety, grown by master growers, you look at them, and to the general public, they're like, can't tell the difference, might as well be twins. They will go to the nth degree of looking at, right, is there pollen that has discoloured the trumpet, for example? Doesn't happen, by the way, I just want to say. But if you had a master grow and you really couldn't tell it, it would go down to that kind of level of detail. I mean, how it works at the national show is that they will have a best in bloom for the show. And when they're going around judging, because I did a bit of stewarding, and that's how I found out how to grow daffodils better for next year. So you go round and basically act as a gopher and run cards backwards and forth. And they basically, if they see a bloom that they think, right, out of this section for this category, we think that one has a good chance to be best in bloom, and they do it for best in bloom for each division and then best overall, and they move them from the top table, and by the time they open to the public, they were still trying to work out best in bloom for overall show. And they have a hard job, put it that way. It's like, when the general public are coming around and going like, they all look perfect to me, and they do. So, and there's nothing, short of it being dead, no one would tell the difference. But to a judge, the level of detail they potentially have to go to sometimes is amazing. I mean, this year, one of my biggest challenges, I want to enter a collections section, so I've got to get 6 daffodils from a number of categories and bring them all in flower, all at the same time, all in perfect condition, just so I can try and have a bit of competition with a gentleman called Danny. So we're both going to go head to head on it. But to get maybe one perfect daffodil, I'll need to grow 3 to 5 bulbs to get that one perfect one. So that's what I'm doing this year, and I'm going to be trialing. So I grew one this year called Snowboard. It's a beautiful pure white daffodil, very strong stem, very strong petals, perfect. And I brought 5 more this year, and I'm going to grow. So the idea is that if I've shown those daffodils this year, those bulbs, I'll let them the leaves go brown, and then just store them until September where I'll replant them. But I shouldn't show those again. So once they go in flower, I'll deadhead them straight away. I won't keep them around. I will literally just deadhead them straight away to make sure all the energy goes straight back in the bulbs, ready for year 3, that I can use those bulbs again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So you don't leave them in the ground. You take them out every autumn.
Yeah, and that's actually, so there's a couple of ways you can do a show daffodils. You can grow them in the ground, or you can do pot culture, and pot culture along with something called plunge beds. So I only have my garden space. I'm desperately trying to get an allotment. Otherwise, I'd probably do them growing in the ground if I was honest, Mark. But for me, I have to grow them in, the tall rose pots that you get.
Square
Yeah,
ones.
Long
yeah,
toms.
long toms. Yeah. So those are what I grow the daffodils in. And I basically just I aim to try and get all my daffodils done by mid-October, ideally mid-September, and then they basically get put in a dark shadish part of my garden and forgotten about until about the 14th of February when you start seeing the shoots go through. So that's pure pot culture. If I was growing in the ground, I would probably have a polytunnel over the top because I don't want them covered in rain, mud, or whatever when they were growing out. Or you do something called pot culture with the plunge bed. So you might get like a 10-inch pot, put 5 daffodil bulbs just sat on top of the pot. So you have it filled with compost and just stick the daffodils on top. 5, make sure they're not touching, and then plunge them into a raised bed and then cover them with soil about 4 inches on top. And then round about the 14th of February, based on British weather, you should start seeing the green shoots. And at that point, you pull them out the plunge bed and then move them to the greenhouse or cold frame, depending, because you've got to get them flowering at the right time. So I spend most of my mornings before work moving daffodil pots around the garden. So, do they need more warmth? Do they need more water? Do I need to slow them down? Do I need to speed them up? There was one daffodil I really wanted to show, and it was just doing nothing, and no amount of talking to it was doing anything. Ended up bringing it in the house and putting it on a heat mat to force it up to create the bud to get it to the gooseneck stage where it was like perpendicular like that. And then I threw it back out into the greenhouse because my greenhouse is in a northeast facing corner.
Yeah.
So it comes to like the perfect temperature. It doesn't ever get too hot in summer and it's never too cold in winter. So it's like the perfect temperature for daffodils. And I managed to get it to bud, but I missed out by probably 2 days. So it looked great in the garden afterwards, but it's just annoying. So it's things like that. And then on top, I have to look, right, daffodils, early daffodils, mid-season daffodils, late season daffodils. It's things like that because scattergunning here. The show this year was 2 weeks earlier than it normally is.
Oh wow.
So bulbs that might have been ready normally 2 weeks later, the tried and tested true daffodils that you always see at show probably wouldn't have been the right bulbs. So everyone this year had to change the type of bulbs they were bringing into show. So it was interesting. It's timing as well. Like, right, do I need mid-season bulbs? But yeah.
Do you think they'd done that on purpose to try and mix it up?
No, because Easter was it earlier this year or later this year? I can't remember. I think if it was earlier or later, and because it's
It was
yeah,
late, wasn't it? Yeah, it was
yeah,
April.
because it was held at the Botanical Gardens. They didn't want them there over the Easter period, so they had to bring it 2 weeks forward. So I
Right.
think the next time that happens will be in 5 years' time. So if I'm still growing and showing daffodils, I'll know in 5 years' time that I'm going to have to change up what sort of daffodils I have for that particular week, but should be
Wow.
back to normal. I personally liked it a little bit earlier because they had the artisan market on at the same time as the daffodil show. So I remember when basically they opened the doors at 1 o'clock and there was a queue and that never happens. So yeah. But yeah, I don't think they did it on purpose, but yeah.
So it's amazing that you must know from when you first see that on Valentine's Day how long it's going to take at a certain temperature to get to what you need to put in the fridge ready for. It's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's when I was speaking to some of the more senior master growers, they were saying like most of this sometimes is a feel because your environment of your garden,
Yeah.
like the temperatures. It's like this year I don't know what your bulbs are like, but my tulips might as well have just been here for like a week and a bit and then just went. It was just too
Yeah, so
hot.
quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
quick.
And that's the problem with daffodils. The perfect temperature for a daffodil is something between 9 to 10, misty, grey. So like perfect normal British spring weather.
Yeah.
And we just didn't have it. Most of my daffodils ended up in my darkest north shade border, the bit that gets absolutely no sunlight to slow them right down because it was just too hot. So yeah, I've kept a diary, and I do diaries on my Instagram account, mainly for me, so I can look back and go, right. But I don't know about you two, but you know, in 24, where it just felt like it rained forever. And
Yeah.
then
I
this
think
year, it's like, like this year, it's like, I can't remember last time it rained here in Birmingham. I think I was in the Cotswold when it rained, and I'm just like, how much longer can my garden hold out before I'm going to have to go out there with the hose pipe?
Yeah.
But so, and I don't know what next year will bring. So hopefully if I carry this on, so I've got a year of when it was completely wet, a year where it's been completely dry, and maybe next year will be, you know, as the three teddy bears will say, just right. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Perfect.
That's just
I
every
was.
garden, isn't it? Every garden
Yeah,
has the same problem. Like you never know what next year's going to bring.
No.
exactly. Yeah. But I suppose that's why we like gardening. Every season isn't the same, otherwise it get really boring really fast. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not,
Yeah. If you knew what was going to happen day by day, you'd think. But it's just amazing to walk around and think, oh, that's not up yet, but that one is.
Yeah.
And that next year it'll be completely different.
Exactly.
Mm.
So yeah, looking forward to it, but I'm trying not to wish the months away kind of late. So I'm waiting for one more specialist supplier to release their catalogue. I just found out I've won a New Zealand daffodil bulb in the lottery that the National Daffodil Society hold. So it's bulbs like that you can't get here, if that makes sense. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, hopefully going to create a collection, and now I'm not going to have to spend as much as I am spending at the moment to bring a bulb up for collection. But the one good thing they said to me was, you'll learn more by buying 10 bulbs of the same variety than you will just buying odds and sods. So that's what I'm
Mm.
trying to do this
Mm.
year. Buy 5 of each type of daffodil that I want to grow for the competition season.
Yeah. How do you make it perfect? I don't get that, because it's in that bulb already.
Mhm.
So it is what it is. Surely you can't do anything apart from temperatures and
Yeah,
watering.
do you know, because I was that prepared, I think I've got here. So,
Oh,
so this is,
fantastic.
yeah. So this is, so bigger the better, basically, when it comes to bulbs,
Yeah.
because the better and healthier the bulb, the bigger the flower. So what they say is that it should only have one nose. So I can see here, I'm not going to peel it, there's starting to come little bulbets here, and we know that the bulbets basically have been fed from
Hmm.
this particular main bulb. So that's going to basically, so these two here will be Mayflower, may not, but it won't be, but this one hopefully will have enough energy to produce me one really good size competition bulb. But there's others that I've got here, I think somewhere. I think it's this one. Yeah. No, got really good bulbs here that I don't have any issues with it yet. This one. So here, there's got two noses, and they say ideally for competition growing, you shouldn't have any more than one nose. So two nose basically means that this one will be taking energy from here to grow a semi-decent daffodil. So perfect for the garden, perfect, would look great, but at the expense of the competition one. So ideally when you're looking for bulbs for competition, it's a single nose and quite fat. And then I do fertilize daffodils because it needs to tomato feed, because it needs potash, because if you
Hmm.
feed with nitrogen it just creates more
Yeah.
leaf than it does that. So you can tweak it with that, but some of it is potluck. It is what it is, like you say, but ideally, like with my daffodils from this season, I know a lot of people on Instagram and growers like hate that leaf look at the end of it. It just looks messy and whatever. I don't care because I know come next spring, and this is a bit of a humble brag, my garden will look amazing at the beginning of spring because all my daffodils will be perfect height, looking all great, etc. The only other thing I can try and do to create them perfect, like water temperature, that is making them open slowly. And again, that's temperature to make sure they don't nick. But again, goes back to, is the variety that I picked a competition daffodil or is it a cut flower daffodil?
Right.
Because there's a difference between buying sorry, I'm just trying to think of one at the moment. So there's a beautiful competition daffodil called Moon Madness. It's as big as my hand and is absolutely perfect. It comes out that perfect, as big as my hand does. And then I might be looking at something like Elka, for example, that can twist really easily. It doesn't look absolutely perfect when it comes out, but it's a gorgeous garden daffodil, but it wouldn't work well on the show bench. So it's that kind of thing. So I do pick my bulbs based on, right, did this bulb win best in show going back to Wisley in 1982, for example, because daffodils been around for that long. There's a category of like pre-1900 daffodils, so I don't have any of those, but yeah.
Talking about old ones,
Yeah.
I was listening to our local gardening show back when the daffodils were about, so a couple of months ago, and they were talking about, Thordis was talking about, Joe might have heard it, I'm not sure, but I think there's a man, can't remember his name, who bred lots of daffodils years ago, talking hundreds of years ago,
Yeah.
and they've all been lost, but they're gradually finding them. You don't know about him? People are finding them in their garden, and then they're breeding from them. But they're all. Is it where the petals aren't crossing? They're literally individuals, and none of the main petals around the outside are crossing.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not sure of that. It'd be interesting to know. So if you
Yeah,
got any links or anything, that'd
I'll
be
find.
great.
Yeah, I'll have a dig about and find out what it is. But I'm sure he was from round our way, and that's why that's why they were talking about him. But they're gradually asking people if you've got any daffodils in your garden that come up with the petals where the petals aren't crossing. It's
Yeah.
more likely to be one of his, which
Oh,
he bred,
A lot.
100 years ago, or however long it was.
there we go. Engelhart. Thank you. I was just like, I'm trying to keep a look on the comments, and
I can't see him.
I've just seen about daffodils coming up blind. I do have some of my daffodils come up blind, but it's mainly because they've been in the ground. I think the ones that came up blind for me this year are about 4 years in the ground now. And when I dug them up, they had like 4 little bulbets attached to them. So all the energy was going to those little daffodils, basically.
Right, okay.
So when like snowdrops get congested,
Yeah.
or even, I don't know, I can't think of what else gets congested in bulbs, but splitting them, burying them deep again, basically reinvigorated them and they started blooming, or that's the idea. Oh, there we go. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that.
I can't see the comments. What they say?
So they were just talking. You were asking about the gentleman, and it's Engelhart, Reverend George Engelhart.
Oh, they are.
Any bells?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who said that? Was it Joe, Mark?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see. I knew she'd know.
She's a common knowledge, that one.
Smart lady.
Yes,
But, yeah.
So that's him. So yeah, they were trying to, whoever it is, the organisation, they're trying to find all his daffodils if people still got them in the garden.
Well, I'll definitely be having a look at that afterwards. To be fair, after we finish chatting, the first thing I've got to do is try and water my garden. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold out anymore. When you look round and everything's just drooping, and it's like, we need water.
I thought the first thing you're going to do is watch EastEnders.
No, I need to. Well, yeah, I need to do that, but garden takes priority over EastEnders. I'll let you know that.
Right. Okay. So how does a normal standard person with a normal garden grow a good daffodil for the garden?
Okay, for the
Start,
garden, yeah,
even
I
if we haven't
would.
bought the bulbs, what bulbs will we start with?
Okay, so I think the first thing I would do is think about what type of daffodil you actually like first, because there's so many varieties on the market. Like,
Yeah,
do you like really tall daffodils with really long stems, or is your
I like pink
garden?
ones now. Now you've said about them, and I've not even seen them yet.
I have to send you a few. Honestly, stunning ones, stunning. Or do you like little ones? Do you like them really
Yeah.
delicate? So have something in mind and think, right, what color scheme do I want? Do I want them early in the season? Do I want them late in the season? Or my personal favorite would be like, right, I want one early daffodil, then I want that to go over, have a mid-season daffodil, and then that to go over and have a late season daffodil. And maybe first thing in, like, you know, when you're coming out of winter and you want some colour. So I might
Mm,
do that one as a bright, gorgeous yellow daffodil. Then we might go into the mid-season and right, I'll get a bi-colour daffodil. So I'll get one that's yellow and white or pink and white. And then come the end of the season, maybe I want something startling. So I get basically a white one with an orange trim, just for example, and
yeah.
then have it succession sowing. And then one of the best websites I've come across is something called DaftSeek, and you can put in all your requirements of what you would like to grow, and it will basically throw out what daffodils meet your requirements.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Yeah,
There's
it's a
a
really good.
website for absolutely everything, isn't there?
There is,
That's
absolutely.
crazy.
Absolutely. And because I work in finance, I'm going to be honest. If the daffodils are just going to be for the garden and you're not crazy mad about them, and I get some people
Yeah.
are not crazy mad
Yeah.
about them, I personally would wait until the end of season for if you're going to buy them from the likes of Farmer Gracie. Or if you want to save money, because I think daffodils either need to be in pots in odd numbers or like swaths in the garden. And to make that really big impact, you need to buy quite a bulk of them.
Yeah.
So I always buy mine through wholesalers to make it cheaper for me, basically. But if you're after a very standard daffodil, I think I'm just trying to think of the ones that are doing the rounds on Instagram at the moment. They're always like the same ones that keep coming up, which for good reason, they're absolutely stunning. But I got, I think, 100 daffodils, and it was like a pinky white one. I think it was like bridal crown. And because I waited to 60% off, I got 100 for £16.70.
Wow.
So you can wait right to the end of the season if you just want them in your garden. And if you plant them a bit later, I'd like to have all my daffodils done by mid-October to allow them to really put down their roots. So
Mm-hmm.
before we go dormant, when we have our colder period over Christmas time.
Yeah.
But absolutely by the end of December, no later than that, for them to properly flower the first year, especially if you're doing the early varieties, because you can have them starting at like February into March time at that point. And then 50 kilos is probably a really good amount to put in if you can get that. And then buy some really good gloves and get a bulb planter and try not to get blisters, is basically what I'm going to say, because I'm sure, Mark, you probably had it where you're plugging in loads and you basically get blisters like here, or I have basically. Yeah, exactly.
Plant thousands.
Thousands. And I do enjoy it. It's like quite a mindful activity for me, like weeding. I can switch my mind off. It's kind of meditation to do it. But I know it's a big thing on Instagram of like buying bulbs is one hobby, planting them is an entirely different matter, which is why you
Yeah.
still got loads of them in your shed when you should have, like,
What's to
you know.
get into, indeed.
Yeah. But those would be my top tips. If there's something you want to splurge on and you really want that variety, buy it early in the season. But if you're just thinking bridal crown, really pretty, etc., just wait until the end of season and just buy them all at cut price.
So depth
And that's a good point.
is twice the depth of the bulb. Is that about right?
About right. I try to do mine 3 times the depth, but if they're like the really tiny bulbs like that, I'd probably do 2. If they're really fat big ones, then I do 3 times the depth. But I think it's a bit of a misdemeanor because and I think Monty actually did this. If you're doing them for cut flower, they will flower if you only put them like one level down, but you run the risk of them coming up blind and they won't be good for the following year, but they
Right.
can still flower. So minimum of 2, ideally 3.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And when you've got your whole maker thing, what did you call it?
Bulb plant.
Bulb planter, yeah. So you take your plug out. Do we put any fertilizer in the bottom, fish blood and bone or anything? No, nothing.
No, the bulb itself has all the nutrition, etc., that you need at that particular point. I only fertilize when I start seeing the green shoots come up. It is probably, if you were a beginner gardener and you wanted absolute immediate impact, I would literally just plant my entire back garden with bulbs, like daffodil bulbs, allium bulbs, verticillium, the lot, because what is easier than basically putting a bulb planter in, taking out the plug of soil, dropping it in, putting it over and forgetting about it. And the fact that squirrels, deers, rabbits, all of our lovely garden critters don't like the taste of them is an
Yeah.
even better thing. Because don't know about you, I have like marauding squirrels in my back garden. I like dug up some of my tulips and just left them in a pot near the greenhouse, and they're all gone the following morning. And that's because I saw like the squirrel went off with them. I was just like, right, obviously not planting those again next year.
Were those?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think for immediate impact, you just cannot go wrong with bulbs of
No,
any type, as far as I'm concerned.
no. One more good thing about daffodils, especially the yellow ones, the
Yeah,
muntjacs don't eat them. Yes, because
exactly.
they don't eat yellow things. It's brilliant.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's sort of like how like one bulb, and I get yellow is a divisive color. I
I love
get it.
it. I love
Yeah,
it. A lot of people hate yellow, don't they? It's really
yeah,
strange.
yeah. It is very strange, but it's Janice was saying about digging trenches. That's another good method of doing it. I've seen a lot of flower farmers doing it. I couldn't imagine like flower farmers though having to do like 1,000
Yeah.
bulbs or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't get me wrong, with the amount of competition bulbs I'm going to grow this year, it's going to take me a bit of time, but I won't just like spend 7 hours in the garden with the radio, just like, oh, yeah, can't. I'll do it gradually over a number of days. And, like, I don't know if you both do this, but at the beginning of the season, my seed labeling is like perfect.
Yeah, oh,
By
yeah.
the end of it, it's just like, I'll remember what the hell that is. I
Yeah,
can't afford
exactly.
to do
Exactly.
that.
Get some
That's already
abbreviated.
started.
Oh, honestly, I just can't. Because I'll just think, I'll remember that. And then I remember I had 2 daffodils. One's called Lindsay Joy, and the other one was called Camaraderie. And the only difference was like a centimetre on the cup. Otherwise, they'd looked identical. So, and I'm not going to remember something like that 6, 7 months later. Not that's an exaggeration. What, 4 months later? So I have to make sure I label them. So yeah, that's why I don't do all the bulbs in one day, because I just get
Yeah,
bored, get
yeah,
sloppy, and then
yeah,
yeah, it's not going to happen.
definitely. I know what you mean. I
Yeah,
always, at the beginning of the season, I've got my book and good intentions, and I write everything in my book, times, dates, and everything, and then that's it. The book is no longer. It's got the first 2 pages done, and then it just doesn't.
exactly,
Yeah,
honestly. But yeah, it's definitely a passion of mine, and I love talking about it. And part of the reason I reached out to Mark to do this was some of the, like, I think it's for every society. I think they said it on Gardens World actually this past weekend for the Alpine Society. I think the age range of these societies is probably on the older side, and I remember one of the society members saying, well, I've only got like 2 years left. And I was just like, what? But he goes like, yeah, we need younger people to replace us, because if you're not read, like, everyone's dying every week.
Yeah.
And that's partly the reason I wanted to do it. I enjoy competition growing. It gives me something different to do in the garden and gets me out meeting other like-minded people that I can talk to about daffodils without my other
mm.
half going, don't want to hear about it, babe. And and so that's kind of why I wanted to come on and try and get more people interested in it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm interested for start off. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's brilliant. I've got one more quick question for you. This
of
is
course.
talking about my own garden. So, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be planting lots of dahlias
Yeah,
in the same place where my daffodils and tulips are.
yeah.
What do I do when I come across one? What can I do with it? If I want, if I want a dahlia there now. That's got to come out. What do I do with it?
So, as long as the foliage has died down,
Yeah,
so let's just say
Yeah.
it's all brown and looking
yeah. It's not.
lovely.
It's all look. It's fairly brown.
Yeah. So, take off all the foliage, dig it up. If it's still a little bit wet, just carefully take off any of the excess soil. The roots basically cut maybe half an inch from the basal plate.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I've done is basically just put mine somewhere cool, dry at the moment because there's dry weather, just to cure. And because of the hot weather we've had, mine have been done in about 3-4 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then just store them. So as if you've got them posted through the letterbox for this season. So mine have gone in brown paper bags or net bagging,
Yeah.
and they're just in my garden shed. And come September, because I don't know how long your daffodils, how long your dahlias are going to be in,
Mm.
just replant them.
Yeah.
That's what I do with my daffodils. So I have some in pots that I leave in pots and then just take off the first quarter amount of soil and then add manure or compost, or I empty them because like you, I want to plant dahlias, so I take them out, store them. When the
Yeah.
dahlias are done, just swap them back over and in. I have seen some people, because it's gone down 3 times the depth, when they've taken off the brown foliage, they've just planted the dahlia bulb over the top of the daffodil bulb.
Okay.
And bulbs, I don't know if I haven't trialed this, but I might do. Bulbs are sophisticated enough that they will weave themselves to actually come up. So I probably wouldn't do it for competition bulbs, but for garden bulbs,
Oh,
potentially.
okay. So you
Because
could just probably just cut the leaves off and leave them if it's deep enough for the dahlia to go above it.
yeah, because I suppose it's that I'd never know if this is a old wives' tale, Mark, or not, or Jamie. It's when you say if you planted all your bulbs like tip
Yeah.
down, would it basically find its way up? And it says it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Probably will.
So
Plants,
why would
plants
it?
have a way of just trying to survive.
Yeah,
They want to live, don't they? They want to do what they've got to do.
yeah. So that's my mindset of like, so if there's a dahlia on top, which is effectively a big bulb, really, to a certain degree, or in my
Mm.
mind, wouldn't the green shoots find a way through that dahlia tuber?
Yeah, you would have thought so, wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but hand on heart, I love my bulbs too much, so I would
You
literally
went.
like dig them up, storing. Yeah, but if you
You're
want to
not
test
going to
that out, let
chance
me
it.
know.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not going to chance it.
yeah, exactly.
That's the same with my snowdrops. I'm getting into snowdrops quite a
Oh,
bit,
oh God,
and
that's expensive as well.
and when you started talking about £35 for a bulb, I was thinking I'm not going to say what I paid for a couple this
Oh,
year.
oh, yes, snowdrops. I think it was modern art, and I was just like, I think I need a promotion at work, and I sort of like, I was speaking to, because I did get a couple of this year because I wanted a particular one to go with my hellebores, and I paid an okay price for them, but when you're looking at 70, 80, 90 pounds, and I'm just like, God, I can't get into them that much. And he was like, yes, you can. I was just like, no, I can't. I'll be bankrupt.
Well, I bought last year. I bought a golden fleece,
Yeah,
and 4 years ago, I think it was 4 years ago when it first came out, that was £1,800 for one plant.
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah,
£1,800, because the same as what you were saying
yeah,
about the bulbs, they take so long
yeah,
for them to, from when he started breeding it. I know the breeder, and that's probably why I'm into it a bit. It's taken 10 to 12 years for him to get the
yeah,
first one that he could sell. And he sold loads of them. It wasn't
yeah.
£1,800 when I bought it last year, obviously, but I was really pleased because I had 2 come up this year, and I went, "Oh
Oh,
yes,
it's
brilliant."
always the little things, isn't it? But yeah, I completely agree.
Mm.
And sorry, is it Jan that's chatting to us
So
on
Joe,
Joe? Sorry, Joe. Um, it's just saying that dahlias are shallow rooted, so I think that can work then. Maybe just try planting them on top of your daffodils and see what happens if you're not
Brilliant.
too fussed. And if it works, that saves you a lot of energy.
Oh yeah, I'll have a go. See what
Yeah.
happens.
Also
Suppose we won't know
potentially
till
leaving
next year.
dahlias.
But then if I leave a dahlias in, which I don't normally, but well, it doesn't matter. I can just leave them then.
Yeah, I just
I will
do you
trial
know,
it.
yeah, see how it
Yeah,
goes, because I'll be honest, I don't dig my dahlias up anymore. All mine came back that I left last year,
yeah,
and given how bad the weather was last year, if they can survive that, this year,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
they die kind of thing. Too many 80s references on this call that I'm doing here between Terminator and Rocky. Anyway.
Oh, brilliant! I've actually enjoyed this so much. Thank you so much. It's been really, really good.
No, I've really enjoyed
Really good.
chatting with you guys. It's just nice, isn't it, from a social media point of view? Because my other half is into gardening, but not to this degree.
No, my other half isn't at all. So, so I suppose I'm lucky. I'm getting around Chelsea on Thursday.
I think it's a good. My other half will like come round places. We go to Trentham, and he likes like walking around and doing the whole gladiator thing across the grasses, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he'll come to, but he's not into gardening, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
But yeah,
I know what you mean.
all
I know what
good.
you mean. Brilliant. So it's that time of
Yeah.
the night, Mark.
Lightning round.
Lightning
Oh,
round.
okay.
There you go. So the first one, nice and easy. Your favourite band or artist?
Oh God, the first one that's coming to mind is Metallica.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, death metal. I like death metal. That's my favourite genre of music.
Oh,
But
Death metal and
80s rock.
daffodils.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
not. I would not have thought that one bit. Not by looking at you.
Brilliant. Right, the next one's a bit of a variation to what we used to ask. I've done a slightly different one. It's all about having a drink in the garden.
Okay.
So are you, in the summer, are you
Yeah.
a cuppa in the morning sun or a cold beverage in the evening watching the sun go down?
Definitely the morning. It's got to be a cuppa in the garden in the morning. Yeah, sets me up.
Let you off for the day.
Yeah, Yorkshire tea as well. Has to be Yorkshire tea.
Brilliant. Next one is flowers or edibles?
Oh no, that's so unfair. I am going to say edibles because I could let a leek go to flower and it would look like an allium bulb. There you go.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
Definitely.
Thinking outside the box. Next one is beach or forest?
Forest.
No hesitation there.
Yeah,
No.
it's forest.
Next one, your go-to emoji in a text message.
Oh, at the moment it's that the one where it's got just one tear crying down, like laughing, crying. That's the one that I seem to just permanently go for at the moment. Like nervousness, laughter.
Yeah, brilliant. If you could only have one snack for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh God. Oh, snack. At the moment, for today, what I've been snacking on at the moment, and this is really boring, is digestive biscuits.
Nothing wrong
Really.
with that.
Yeah, when I was going through treatment, that's all I wanted to eat was like that and a rich tea biscuit.
Love a
So
digestive.
yeah, a digestive.
I'll have a digestive with Philadelphia on.
Oh, that's
Oh,
dirty.
oh,
Yeah.
lovely. Philadelphia cheese on a digestive. Oh my
I might have
God.
to try it though.
It's lovely.
It's like Christmas cake and cheese. That is immense.
Beautiful.
If you've not,
But just talking about Christmas, when you get your crackers, not
yeah,
your pulley crackers, your crackers for cheese, and there's the little Hovis digestive in there.
yeah.
Always go for that one
Oh,
first with some cheddar
all
on
right.
top and the cheese and a sweet biscuit. It's lovely.
Okay, you
Okay,
sold
I
it.
agree with Jamie now.
See?
You're not crazy.
Yeah.
Next one, finish the sentence. My perfect day would be.
Not working.
Yeah.
Um, you know, like I'm literally just like, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And my first thing that's come to mind is not working. But my perfect proper day would be cuppa in the garden, reading more than 4 pages of the current book that I've got, gardening, cooking dinner with my other half. This is really sad. Watching the news with him because that's just the thing
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
Then like going off separately to do what we wanted, then having a cup of tea at night and going to bed together. That would be my
Perfect.
perfect day.
Sounds good to
Brilliant.
me.
Lovely. Next one. Today's favourite plant.
Today is actually this salvia flamingo thing that I've got. It's brash as hell and I love it.
Oh, lovely.
And that's in flower, is it?
Yes, it's in flower. I just had to like deadhead it at the moment, but it's in flower. I think because it's a new one, I'm sure it's been in a polytunnel somewhere and forced into flower. But it's in the sunniest position and it's just beautiful. I love it.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Middleton's, Mark.
You what?
I think they had that at Middleton's.
Oh, did they? Yeah, I can't picture it. Next one is favourite season.
Gonna be spring.
That'll be spring for the Daffs.
Yeah, spring for the Daffs. And then I like summer because as a second favourite, just on the basis that that's when I do hardly any gardening. I sit back and enjoy what I've done.
Yeah. Next one is if you could make one thing disappear from your garden or the gardening world, what would it be?
Oh God. Can it be next door's garden?
Be whatever you want. Whatever you want.
So they're lovely people. I get on really well. But either side, the left-hand side neighbours don't like gardening at all, and it was a beautiful, mature garden, and they've just razzed it to the floor with weed killer and filled in the
what?
pond. It's disgusting. And then on the right-hand side, the guys built this massive office space thing that just looks so imposing on the garden, and he hasn't treated it, so all I can see is black mold creeping up one side of it, so that's what I get rid of. But each to their own. This is me just being an absolute cow, to be honest.
No,
Good
definitely
choice.
not.
I think I'd probably follow suit, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Next one is favourite weed.
Ooh, as for some reason I want to say dandelion, which I do like, but it's nettles. I love nettles. Ever since I found dead nettles, I've had a new appreciation for nettles.
Yeah, nettles are good.
Yeah,
I like dead nettles.
yeah, nettles definitely.
Especially the red ones. The red dead nettles are lovely.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I saw them at RHS Bridgewater, and I was just like, "That's stunning." Then Trentham, and then I've got my own little one, which I hopefully just in a deep shade border, just currently romping away. So yeah, really happy with it. It's a purple one.
There is some stunning ones out there. Next one is garden visit or plant shopping trip.
A plant shopping trip, I must. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. As much as I love going to garden shows, garden places, beautiful. There's something about a garden centre that's just you can't beat, basically. And Ashford Nurseries is my favourite at the moment.
Awesome. And the final one, what would you want your gardening legacy to be?
Oh God, that's a good question. You know that whole saying, if you choose to be anything, choose to be kind. And I think that's what I want for my garden legacy. Like everything is welcome in my garden, whether it's like a weed, what people classify as pests. I even slugs I can manage these days, because I plant my plants out at a decent size so the slugs don't decimate them, so I don't bother about them that much as I used to. Snails the same, so everything's welcome in my garden, good, bad or ugly. And that's what I would like my legacy to be, very welcome in the garden.
Apart from squirrels who lick your tulips.
Oh, do you know what? Honestly, I just like the proper marauders. But you know, have you seen like I think they call it sploshing? and this is the only reason I think they're cute, is because when it's sunny like this, I can watch them all sunbathing on the back of my fence, where they just lie with their legs hanging over the side of the fence. It's just sploshing. So cute. So when they're like that, I like
Sploshing.
them. Sploshing, I think it's. I'm not even making this up. I'm
I've never
sure
heard
it's
of
called sploshing.
it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it out.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Excellent. Picture of squirrels
Yeah,
sploshing now.
I'll tag you in the one I managed to get. I promise you, it's a thing.
Excellent. Brilliant. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Mena.
No,
Thanks,
it's
Mena.
been great, guys. Thank you for.
Really opened, well, definitely my eyes to daffodils.
The world of daffodils.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Fabulous. And it's been great being on here, guys. Really enjoyed myself. And Mark, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on and chat.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
Brilliant. All right, guys, I'm going to go water the garden and watch EastEnders. And Joe, it was lovely to meet you as well.
And you.
All right.
See you
Fabulous,
later.
guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Mena.
Wow.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Daffodil expert.
Oh, she is an expert as well. She probably won't say she is, but I definitely think she is.
Well, I mean, to know all of, when they're going to flower and how long.
That's mind blowing, isn't it?
I mean, she'll look at a daffodil completely differently to the way me and you look at a daffodil.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's yellow. It's flowering.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And look,
love that.
It's still light.
I know, it's fantastic. But I think I said, because I was away with Kim at the weekend, I think I said to her, well, it might have been someone else. We were a bit drunk. It's only about, I don't know, 4 weeks until the longest day.
Stop saying it.
It's ridiculous. Crazy. But we can't wish it away. We've got a long, long time. Oh, you've got a dahlia.
He's still on, Joe. This is one of the dahlias that he sent me. Look, actual dahlia not getting eaten by slugs. Not even a slight bit of eating.
No, look at that.
Perfect little dahlia.
Will that be the first dahlia you've grown?
Well, if I manage to grow it and it gets to a flower, then yeah, it probably is the first dahlia I've grown. It's been successful.
Don't you put any dahlias in at work?
I have done previously, but again, it's such a struggle to stop the slugs from eating them. It was just, I just thought it's really not worth the hassle. Like, I can grow annuals and stuff like that so much easier and with, less hassle.
Yeah. You must really have had it. Well, obviously not as bad this year, but I don't think I've ever had a dahlia chewed up by a slug. But I don't get, touch wood, I don't get that bad a slug problem, to be honest.
No, it's obviously something to do with plant grow, maybe. I mean, this year is going to be completely different anyway because of how warm it's been and how cold the winter.
Yeah, they're not there, are they?
But I mean, last year when I planted my squash and my courgette and stuff like that, literally, like the next morning, they'd have been decimated. Whereas now I've planted them and they've not been touched.
Yeah.
You
put yours out, have you?
I've put. Debbie from work gave me 4, so she gave me 2 courgette plants and a squash and a pumpkin, and I've put them in different areas of the veg garden to see what had happened, and none of them have been touched whatsoever. So I've obviously not got the slug population that I had last.
No one has. It's definitely the dries sorted them out. Really has.
I just noticed earlier as well, one of my micro tomatoes called Little Heartbreaker, it's got a flower.
Have you seen Catherine's story today?
No.
She's got tomatoes, green still, that big, crushed hearts on hers.
What?
On her tomato plants.
What?
I said to her, is that a picture from last year? She said, no, I've just taken it.
Hang on a minute, let me get my crushed heart. Don't hate you too much, Catherine.
Jeez.
My tomatoes are just awful this year. I did a whole new tray in different compost and I haven't had a single seed germinate.
What?
I think I'm just going to have to go buy a load of plants.
Well, I've got some here for you if you want them. But I was going to bring them Saturday. What time are you leaving for Wales?
I'm not sure. I'll message her.
Yeah, let me know. Yeah. Maybe I should keep them for when you're back.
Yeah. Or yeah, we'll sort something out the week after.
Yeah. All right.
But,
Okay.
yeah, not been a good year for tomatoes in my place, but I'll take that if everything else goes, because last year all I had was tomatoes. So
I put all mine in my polytunnel yesterday. They're all in and.
well, the two that were the ones that Chris brought back from Guernsey that were cold germinators that I did in January. I've got 2 plants that I brought home from work that I've put in. Let me turn it around and I can show you. Are those 2 there? Look, and they're doing well, but they're literally the biggest ones other than my micro tomatoes that I've got. Everything else is just not getting going. Bizarre.
Yeah, mine have all done really well. Touch wood, they're brilliant. Well, you saw that boot of tomato plants I took with me at the weekend. They soon went.
Cool.
I come back with none. They just went.
Like a car boot sale.
It was, yeah. I was going to sell them all. Brilliant. Right. So we hit the road. I haven't had my dinner yet.
You not had your dinner yet?
No, I was outside doing stuff.
You'll be hungry.
Yeah, I will. Right, thanks everybody.
Thank you. That's episode 88.
88, 89 next week.
89 next week.
Yeah.
Soon be good.
So we
Crazy.
say who we got next week?
If you can remember who it is.
Marc Lane.
Marc Lane.
Marc
TV
Lane.
Marc Lane.
Marc Lane from the telly.
Who's got a new book coming out.
He has, yes.
Or
Have you read it yet?
Is it out?
It's out. Come on the 15th.
15th.
Yeah.
Not read it yet. I'm trying to finish another book so that I can read that before next week.
You've got to read it before next week.
But it's a nice small one, so I can get it.
To it. I don't read books very much, so I listen to them.
Was it narrated by Marc?
No, I've got an app. Because I'm a bit dyslexic, I think. I just can't read very well, so I've got an app. You just scan it, and it talks it to you.
Oh, wow, you actually can scan the book.
The pages.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's a really, really clever app.
Yeah. It's quite
Awesome.
new. It's quite new, yeah. Right, I'm going to have a dinner.
Brilliant. See you next week, everyone.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.